Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Restorative Yoga. I'm just going to make sure that you can see me clearly. So I'm just going to adjust the camera quickly, and then I will talk you through this morning's class. So there are a couple optional props that block. Then if you'd like to, you can just roll up a towel. So I've done this here, so it's in the shape of a bolster. So you can use this for support in different postures, and I'll talk you through those as we go through the movements of this morning's class. And then if you have a little cushion or a pillow, this is just to support the knees. We'll be leaning on the knees for one of the postures in the class today. So just if your knees are a little bit sensitive. And then as you can see, I've got a mat. If you don't have a mat, you can just put a towel on a carpeted surface just to make sure that you've got a little bit of cushioning for the body. And if you're ready, we will begin shortly. I'm just going to light some incense this morning to create the good vibes. I'm not playing any music this morning, just so that you can hear me clearly. If we have any connectivity issues, I have sent the list of the postures we're doing this morning. So you can just go through those to make sure that you're still following the class. So a little bit of incense this morning, just so that I can imagine myself in Bali. And the cats might join us as well. So a little bit of patience for the cats if they tend to pop into picture. So we're going to begin this morning just seated on the mat. So once you've set up, you've got your props nearby, your books. Just to show again, it's the hardcover books. About 3 or 4, we're going to use those to sit on if you may need to in the cross-legged postures. Your towel, a towel on the carpet or a mat, and an extra cushion if needed. And when you're ready, you can set up the mat facing towards the screen. So we're going to do a lot of postures in this direction. So if you want to face the mat to the screen so you can see me clearly, I will be moving from side to front view so that I can demonstrate the postures to you clearly, but you can just stay facing in one direction. You just see how we are doing for time. Make sure that I'm not running too early or late this morning. So just to talk through what we're doing this morning, we're going to begin with a breathing exercise. Then we're going to move through a series of postures in our cross-legged positions. Then we're doing a second round of warm-up, working into areas like our hips, our upper back. Then we move into some floor work where we again looking at things like our lower back. Basically, the whole class today is about the whole body. So we're not focusing on one area specifically. We will be working at hamstrings, shoulders, lower back, upper back, opening the chest, opening the heart, working out, stretching the quads. So there's a lot happening. Just roll with it. If this is your first yoga class, just take it really easy. Be very mindful about how the body is feeling. You should never experience any kind of searing pain in yoga. Some discomfort is common when our bodies are tight, particularly around the hip areas or with your hamstrings, for example, if you do a lot of other sport. If you've been following the program and you've been doing a lot of other home workouts, you might realize that your body's feeling a little bit of stiffness and tightness today. So just allow your body to show you where it's at this morning. Go with the flow and just breathe through the postures. The breath will always help and guide you. The most important part of any yoga practice is to focus on the breath. So concentrate on the inhales and exhales, making sure that they're similar length. Breathe nice and deeply into the chest, into the diaphragm, and into the belly. This is not a class, so we hold our stomachs in. We want to breathe and expand. Feel the whole of the torso fill with air, and then release. We also breathe in and out through the nose, unless I'll indicate to you, like in some of the breathing exercises we'll do later on in the class. So enjoy, everyone. This is going to be for all levels, so I will demonstrate different variations within the different postures so that you can figure out what variation works for you. And again, just please, please, please be mindful of what your body is allowing you to do this morning. No searing pain should ever be experienced. Yoga is a healing practice or healing exercise. And so a little bit of discomfort is fine. We'll breathe through that, through the postures as we allow the body to open. Instead of focusing on trying hard, let the body surrender into the postures. Hey guys, calm down. So the cats are a little bit frisky this morning. They're totally not picking up on my nervous energy at all. Okay guys, come. We're going to practice yoga now. All right. So for our first posture of the day, just come into a comfortable seat in the center of the mat. So if your mat is facing towards the screen, you're going to be facing towards the screen. So in this direction, I'm going to face the screen this way just so you can see me more clearly. So coming into that comfortable seat, legs cross-legged. Now, this is already one point when you can begin to use the props. So if you find that your hips are quite tight and you'd like to sit on your books, just creating a little bit of elevation in a cross-legged position can just ease that tightness. So if that is more comfortable for you, you're welcome to give it a try, test it out, and then let's just begin to find some stillness in the seated posture. So bring our hands, just rest over the knees, palms open up towards the ceiling in a gesture of acceptance, openness, receptiveness. We're going to begin to close our eyes here and just concentrate on our breath, getting in touch with our body. So focus on your inhale. Focus on the length of that inhale and hold it when you've reached the top. Gently begin to exhale out through the nose. To connect all of us here together this morning, we're going to start with a short breathing exercise which will help you to manage the length of your inhales and exhales. We're just going to be counting to 4 for the inhales and exhaling to 4 as well, so we can just get into the rhythm of keeping the equal length for both. So let's begin by taking one deep inhale together through the nose. And open mouth sigh, just let it go. Now we begin. Let's inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. And exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. And exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, sweetie. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you can hold the steady rhythm of breath through the practice, that'll help you stay in the postures. It'll also help to keep the mind clear as we focus our thoughts and energy onto the breath. So let's begin now with our warm-up series. Frisky cats in the house. Okay, so we're going to begin with a seated forward bend. Inhale as we lift the hands up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, we begin to forward fold, hinging from the hips, reaching all the way out in front of you. Now extend the hands out as far as you can. Let the head begin to hang easy. Looking towards the shins. Some of us might be able to stay here. Some may reach all the way down and place the forehead on the mat. Just work with what your body is showing you this morning. So just from a side profile view, really extending those hands out as far in front of you as you can. And with each inhale, we create space as we lift our chest slightly. With each exhale, we deepen into the space. Extending those hands as far forward as we can. Feeling the stretch now on the back of the thighs and the glutes. Reach forward just a micromillimeter. And on your next exhale, begin to walk the hands back to center. As we take an inhale, we lift our hands up towards the ceiling. Now switch the legs around. So the opposite leg is now in front. Exhale to forward fold one more time. Reaching those hands forward as much as you can. Notice if one side of the body feels different to the other. Yoga practice is a beautiful time that allows us to become aware of the whole body, to tune into ourselves, and to show ourselves some much needed love. So just let the head hang easy here. Try and bringing the forehead towards the mat. Allow the body to soften into the posture. And on your next exhale, begin to walk the hands back towards the mat. As we inhale, we lift our hands again up towards the ceiling. Nice big inhale. As we exhale now, we move into a side bend. So placing the right hand down on the mat first, use that hand to press into the body. So watch how my torso presses away from the mat. Then look at my top hand. It's going to curl over. So what we're doing is we're creating a C-like shape with the body, or a half moon. And I'd like you to imagine that you're really pushing the left side of the body towards the left. So pushing it more towards the left direction. You're pressing into the right hand on the mat. And as you press, you also lift yourself up and around and over. What this does is it creates a beautiful stretch for the left side of the body. You can feel it all the way from the hips up through the chest to the elbow. Remember to continuously come back to the breath. So while we're here in the posture, think about the breathing. Are you breathing deep into the chest, into the diaphragm, and into the belly? We're not holding our stomachs in today. We are really feeling the breath expand through the body. And on your next exhale, we gently begin to drop that left hand down to the mat. Inhales, we lift both hands back up towards the ceiling. Exhale, left hand down onto the mat now. So pressing that left hand into the mat first. Use that to shift the body to the right. Then begin to bring that right hand over. So we're forming that C shape. On the same time, we're really still pushing into the mat with that left hand, pressing our body towards the right, feeling the opening on the right side of the body. And we're not collapsing down into one side. We're keeping ourselves lifted up. My cats are meowing. And on your next exhale, just allow that right hand to come down to the mat. Take a moment to just wiggle out the shoulders here for a second before we move into our third posture of this morning, our spinal twist. Let's inhale as we lift our hands up towards the ceiling. Now exhale, take the left hand, place it on the outside of the right thigh. Then take the right hand, place it at the base of the spine. So you're pressing into the mat, palm pressed firmly into the mat. You can see how my spine elongated. So watch as I press in, spine becomes tall and straight. And as we find our hands settled into this posture, we then begin to inhale again to lift the chest. Exhale to twist into the posture. So begin to look over that right shoulder. From a side profile position, I'll just demonstrate so you can look at the back hand. Hand at the base of the spine, pressing into the mat. See how straight my spine is. Throughout our yoga practice, we always try and maintain that tall, straight spine and begin to look over deeper. Remember to stretch your eyes as well as the neck, as well as the body. So we're twisting everything. It's really good for your digestive system. And let's exhale to release. Again, give those shoulders a little shake, 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 just to loosen them up. Inhale one more time now. Exhale to the opposite side. So the right hand outside of the left thigh, left hand, base of the spine. pressing into the mat to elongate the spine. Imagine that you have a rod pulling up through the crown of your head. So you create that real beautiful straight line with the body. Now we take one inhale to lift the chest. Exhale to twist. Slowly begin to look deeper over the left shoulder. With every inhale, we allow our body space to expand. And with each exhale, we can move a little bit more into that space, even if it's just a micromillimeter. So every time we inhale, we lift slightly, and every time we exhale, we twist a little bit deeper. The longer we stay in the postures, you'll feel how your body begins to surrender to the pose. And as we exhale, we release the arms, give them another little shake, shake, shake. Now we're going to move into our eagle arms posture, which is great for working with shoulder mobility. But just be mindful here, if you do have sensitive shoulders, there are 3 variations. I'm going to talk you through all 3 of them, and then you can find the one that is calling you and stay in that posture for 30 seconds on each side. So we begin as we inhale, hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, right arm under first. So this is like a pretzel for the arms. So these are the full eagle arms. You can see my palms are touching. There's compression of my elbows. There's no light or air coming through. We're squeezing the body together. Now, if you're struggling to reach the palms, see if you can touch the back of the hands. You're welcome to stay here, keeping the compression of the elbows. If you would like to, you can also just reach for the shoulders. Again, the compression is here in the elbows. So the whole idea is that we're pressing the elbows together. So find one of these 3 variations that works for you. And then from here, we just begin to lift those elbows up. This helps to deepen the stretch in the back of the shoulder blades. So if you're in the full eagle variation, make sure that your arms are now parallel to the mat. So top part of your arms here perpendicular. The arms here are parallel to the mat, as you can see. So lifting those elbows up, feeling the deeper stretch of the shoulder blades behind you. As we exhale, we begin to unravel those arms, feel the fresh rush of blood spread through the arms. Now we inhale for the opposite side. So now bringing the left arm down, right arm over, hands to touch. So now we're in our left side of the eagle posture. So left arm under, right arm over, hands to touch now, or back of the hands to touch, or grabbing the opposite shoulders. Wherever you are here, let's begin to lift the elbows up, just like we did on the opposite side, to help create that opening for the shoulder blades and the upper back. Remember to focus on the breath, always bringing that attention back to the breathing. As we exhale, we begin to release the arms. Again, just giving the shoulders a little wiggle. Now we're moving into our 5th posture, the last one of our seated warm-up series. So this is called a cow face posture, and there are 2 parts of it, the legs and the arms. So I'm going to demonstrate both. This is a great opportunity to use your books, especially if you experience tightness in the hips. This really helps to open the hips as well as shoulder mobility. So we're going to work through the legs first. So now straighten out the legs in front of you. This will help you set up into the posture. Place the left leg at the bottom. So pointing straight out in front of you, the knee pointing to the front. Then sit up, bring that right leg on top and watch how my knees are stacking directly above one another. Feet pointed out to the sides. Now from here, we begin to sit back down onto the mat. If your hips are really tight, you'll experience some pain here already. I recommend sitting on a book. If one is not enough, try 2 or 3. Having that elevation just helps to release some of that tightness in the hips. So that is the first part of our calf-face posture. Second part, the arms. So inhale as we lift the hands up towards the ceiling. Right arm comes down. Left arm bends to reach for the fingers of the right. So I will turn around to demonstrate this from the back as well. And we stay here for 10 breaths. Just to demonstrate from the side so you can see the back, so you can see the hands. On your next exhale, gently begin to unravel the arms, then unravel the legs. Scooch them out in front, give them a little shake as we move into our opposite side. So now the right leg is on the bottom, knee pointing forwards. We sit up and we curl that left leg over so the knees are stacked directly on top of one another. Now we begin to sit down. Again, if you've got tight hips, make use of the blocks. Sitting back onto the blocks just to release some of that tension around the hip area. Feet pointed out towards the side. As we inhale, we lift our hands up. Exhale, left arm down. Hand pressed against the back, pointing up. And we bring the right hand down to meet the left. Now, it doesn't matter if you can't reach the fingers. Just try and keep the fingers as close together as possible. For some of us, we have more mobility in the shoulders, so we can actually reach to create a grip. It doesn't matter if you can't. Just place the left hand, fingers pointing up towards the ceiling and up towards the ceiling. This is quite a demanding posture, so just use the breath to help you through it. Let's release the arms, give them a little shake. We move up into our second part of our warm-up. Release the legs out in front of you. Lift those knees one at a time just to release the tension from the calf-face posture. Now we're briefly going to come into butterfly pose. So just bring the soles of the feet to touch. Wrap the hands around the toes and let the knees come out to the sides. Just gently give a few bounces of the knees so you can feel the opening in the hip and groin area. So little butterfly bounces, look like little butterfly wings. And now we're going to move into our half butterfly pose. So just finding stillness with the legs. Give yourself a bit of room on the mat. Half butterfly, so keeping one knee bent in. Releasing the opposite leg out. So now it doesn't matter if you can't reach the toes. Rather begin first with the knee up and then holding onto the toes. So just find what works for you here. And then gently allow the leg to expand and stretch. This is a hamstring stretch, so if you can straighten the leg, doesn't matter if you can't reach the toes, you can hold onto the shin, for example, as long as you feel like you're getting a stretch for that hamstring. As you exhale, you release, swap the legs around. So now my left leg is extended, my right knee is out to the side in that half butterfly. And we reach for our foot, so you can bend the knee at first and then begin to edge that ankle forward so you can straighten the leg, hold onto the shin if you like. Just find what works for you this morning and focus on stretching out that hamstring for a couple breaths. As you exhale, release the grip. We're going to bring our legs into a cross-legged position as we move over into child's pose. Roll over the knees, bring the feet to touch, so toes touching, knees out towards the edge of the mat. Sit down onto your heels first, then come down onto the forearms. Now, for some of us, we won't be able to keep the connection of the sit bones to the heels. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we try constantly to reach for the heels, for the back, and we reach forward to the front. This helps us to create an elongation for the spine. So you're welcome to stay here with the forearms on the mat, or if you'd like to, extend the hands all the way forward and bring the forehead down to the mat. As we inhale, walk the hands over to the left-hand side. Place the right hand on top of the left. And again, bring the forehead down to the mat so we feel a deep stretch on the right side of the body. On the next inhale, let's come up. Walk the hands over to the opposite side. So the right palm is down, left palm on top. Stretching out the left side of the body now as we bring the forehead to the mat. As we inhale, we lift to come up, walking our hands back towards our lap. Now moving into a tabletop position. So here, the knees are directly beneath the hips. The hands are directly beneath the shoulders. To check that your knees are the right distance apart, take 2 fists, press them in between the knees. That's how you know that they're directly beneath the hips. We're going to move into a couple rounds of cat and cow. So spread the fingers nice and wide on the mat. You can just let the feet relax down at the bottom. As we inhale, we stick out the bum first. Watch how my belly drops and we begin to lift up, looking up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, we tilt the pelvis inwards, round the spine, look towards the belly button. Inhale, begin to stick the bum out, lift the chest, lift the forehead, look up. Exhale, tilt the pelvis inwards, round the spine, press into the mat, lifting the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, stick the bum out, lift the chest, looking up. Exhale, cat, round the spine, pressing into the mat, lifting the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, one more time, cow. Imagine that you have a Pilates ball on your back and you're trying not to let it drop. So we're rounding the spine as much as we can. As we exhale, the Pilates ball comes beneath us. So we're rounding over that ball. And release for a neutral spine. Now we're going to move into thread the needle posture. So we're going to begin as we inhale, right hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale, thread the needle. So we bring that hand through the space on the left side, place the shoulder and the temple of the right side onto the mat. Then extend the left fingers forward. This is a great posture for the back, especially if you experience any tension in the upper back. Spending a few moments in this posture every morning or every evening can just help to relieve the tension or back pain if you experience that, if you struggle with that. On your next exhale, begin to walk that left hand back to beneath the shoulder. As you inhale, you press into that hand, lifting the right hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale to place the right hand down. Inhale now as we lift the left hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale to thread the needle on the opposite side. So bringing that hand between the right arm and the thigh, and then placing the left temple on the mat. So just from a front view. Now we extend the fingers of that right hand forward towards the front, and we just let the head rest on the mat. Now begin to walk that right hand back as you exhale. As you inhale, we lift the left hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale to plant the hand down onto the mat. Now we're going to move on to the floor work part of our series today. So the first posture is puppy's pose. So as we're in our tabletop, see my hips are staying up. We're going to just walk the hands forward until the chest comes down to the mat. Chest or the chin or the head. Now, just seeing where your body is at this morning. If you would like to just keep the forehead on the mat, you're welcome to do so. If you'd like to create a deeper stretch for the upper back, try and see if you can kiss the mat or bring the chin to the mat. As we inhale, we begin to lift the body back up into our tabletop position. Our next pose is Sphinx pose. So imagine a Sphinx. We're going to lie down onto the mat. Now, elbows directly beneath the shoulders. Feet just relax down onto the mat. Pressing the hands into the mat, you can almost press yourself up and away from the mat. So this is really a counter posture to how we sit every day. It's a bit of work for the lower back, but it's really good if you tend to spend a lot of time hunched over or sitting at a computer to just allow the body to come into a counter posture. If you'd like to deepen the stretch slightly, you can walk your elbows a little bit more backwards, press into the mat to create a little bit more lift. We're now going to move into our third pose of our floor workout, crocodile pose. This is a very relaxing and restorative posture after the work we've just done for our lower back. So first, bring the forearms to rest, one directly on top of the other, or you can place your hands on top of the other. So just feel what feels better for you today. I'm going to use my forearms on top of each other. Then rest your forehead down onto the arms. Now concentrate on the feet. So if you have a look at my feet here, what I'm going to do is turn the left foot out to the left and turn the right foot out to the right. So the right toes are pointing right, left toes pointing left. So you're almost rolling out the thighs and really feeling the pressure of pushing the pelvis into the mat. This is crocodile pose. On your next inhale, begin to come up and at the same time release the feet, just pressing them behind you. We're going to press up into our tabletop position. Now we're going to move into a couple rounds of low lunge to half splits, staying in each posture for a while because this is restorative and we allow the body space to actually feel the stretch. So we begin our half lunge by stepping our right foot forward. Now lean into that lunge. So you can see I'm creating the scissoring action with the thighs, and we're almost creating a straight line from the knee that's on the ground to the knee that's at the top. Now here is the time if your knees are feeling a little bit sensitive, you can place a little cushion below that back knee just to remove some of the strain. We always want to protect the knees, make sure they're healthy. So just feel out this posture, feel the opening here and the scissoring action of the groin, of the hips, as we lean into this low lunge posture. We're here for 2 more breaths, so just focus on the breath. Now we're going to move into our half splits. So watch as how I inch my little foot forward in front, and then I begin to straighten that front leg. So this back leg is nice and straight, so perpendicular to the mat. My front leg is straight, and here we begin to lean all the way down, reaching for the foot or hand placed on the mat, or you can reach the forehead now down to the knees. So what we're doing here is stretching out the hamstring on this side. So just work with what feels good for you today, whether that's clasping your foot, keeping the hands on either side of the mat, and gently beginning to work the forehead down as we feel the stretch deepen for the hamstring. Slowly now begin to bend that front knee and little inch to bring the foot back so it's beneath you. Sweeping the right leg back so that you're in your tabletop position. As you inhale now, sweep the opposite foot. So the left foot is now forward. So as we come up, begin to sit down deeply into that low lunge. So again, we're creating that straight line from the back knee to the knee in the front, and as you can see, ankle is directly beneath the knee. So we can use the breath here to just help us open up a little bit more, feeling that deep opening around the groin and the hip area. At the same time, what we're doing is actually getting a little quad stretch for the leg at the back. Again, just make sure your knee is feeling okay. If you'd like to use the cushion on the opposite side, work with what your body needs this morning. Now let's begin to inch that foot forward slightly if you need to. Coming back up, straightening that leg. Now creating that hamstring stretch, bringing either your hands down to the mat, holding onto the toes if you'd like to, reaching the forehead down to the knee, whatever feels good for you here, as long as you're experiencing the hamstring stretch on the opposite side. So keeping that leg nice and straight, pointing the toes up towards the face, so flexing the foot. Slowly begin to bend that front leg now, inching that foot backwards. And as you exhale, we sweep the foot back into our tabletop position. Now we're going to set up for our half pigeon. This is a posture that can be quite uncomfortable, so just work with what your body is showing you today. I'm going to talk through the variations carefully, and then this is a good time to take hold of your folded up towel if you'd like to use this for support. So we bring the right knee towards the right wrist. We scooch that right foot out and we begin to work the left foot backwards. So what we're doing is we're creating a number 7 shape with the body. So if we're doing the right side front first, like a backward 7. And as we sit up, now if you'd like to take the towel and place it beneath the thigh, beneath that right thigh, and then just sit a little bit down onto it. It just offers a bit of support for the body. So you're pressing the towel sort of just between the top of the thigh and the bum on the right side. And from here, as we exhale, we begin to walk down onto the floor. So if you'd like to stay with your forearms down on the mat, you're welcome to do so. If you'd like to take the stretch deeper, stretch your hands out in front of you and bring your forehead to the mat. On your next inhale, you can begin to walk the hands back towards the lap as we sit up. Remove the towel or bolster now away from the body. Now curl the toes of the back foot first, then lift the back knee. Watch how my body presses up, allowing space for the right leg to move back. So I'm in a high plank position. Now from here, come down, tabletop. Bring the left knee to the left wrist now, as we sit up for a half pigeon on the opposite side. Bringing that left foot to the front, so a number 7 shape. Slowly start to walk the back foot